now and are committed to standing with us and our siblings in AFSCME to oppose cuts to the UC healthcare plans offered to its employees. Other unions like the Teamsters have also committed to fighting those cuts at the bargaining table. If the UC does not change its behavior, what do we need to do?
Shut it down!
Shut it down! Keep shutting it down. We need to prepare to escalate. We will be planning a series of statewide meetings in every department, job title across the state, beginning in June to discuss what that means. We need to be ready to show the new UC president that if they don't change course, our pressure and campaign will only increase. So when we go back to our coworkers about the strike and what's next, remind them we will be feeling the impact of this fight for years to come. What we are doing may be hard, but imagine how workers who organized the first unions in this country felt. How did the Chicago workers feel on that first May Day when they were fighting for the 8-hour workday? When unions were illegal and you were lucky enough if you didn't get fired or killed. Think about what our lives would be like if they had not fought and won in these much harder conditions. What we are doing this for our patients, our students, our research, and our families. We're not going to back down. We are going to keep fighting, because when we fight,
We win!
when we fight,
We win!
when we fight,
We win!
Great, so quick announcements. We will be joined now by SEIU 1021. They are setting up for their May Day rally. They are the workers. They represent workers here at San Francisco General Hospital. We will be
May Day, which incorporates the community and incorporates employees, and we all should be working on these things together. So we're glad you're all here. We're glad we're all here together. We intentionally made it on a day when we knew you guys would be here, because we all have the same fight. We're all dealing with the same issues.
damn right.
Contracting out our work, people not being treated fairly in the workplace, people not being respected by our employers, people not wanting to pay us the wages that we really deserve, and wanting to silence us when we speak up about all the things that they are doing that are wrong. And we want to protect the public that we work for, that we work to make sure that they get the best possible health care that they can get. This is for people like me. This is not just a damn job. I care about the community that I work for. I know you guys care about the people that you take care of. And we take care of San Francisco. And the city of San Francisco and UCSF, they need to take care of us. So this is Cheryl Thornton. She and I are partners in crime on a lot of these things we do around here. And your Cobb is here too.
Thank you for standing here with us on the first Black May Day, a day to affirm our labor, our voices, and our lives matter. We're here today because Black workers are organizing. We're demanding justice, equity, and dignity, not just in our workplaces, but across the entire city. For far too long, we've been underpaid, overworked, and disrespected, and pushed out of our very communities that we help build. As public service are privatized and lifelong union jobs are replaced with low-wage contract work, Black workers are the first to be cut and the last to be heard. And while they slash our jobs and close our clinics, this country continues to pour billions into a war and militarize. let's be clear. Every dollar sent to fund genocide in Gaza is a dollar stolen from our schools, our housing, and our health care. You cannot talk about justice at home while funding injustice abroad. This rally is a stand for black workers, for oppressed people everywhere, and for the right to speak truth to power. Because now even our speech is under attack. Workers and students are being punished for standing up against war, racism, and apartheid. We say no more. We demand fair wages and union rights, safe, respectful workplaces, housing justice, education equity, economic inclusion for black businesses, and we demand the right to speak freely and organize without retaliation. As Harriet Tubman said, there was one of two things I had a right to, liberty and death. She didn't settle for survival, she fought for freedom, and so do we. We are not asking, we are building power. We are not waiting, we're moving. We call on this city, every one of you, to stand with us. Power to black workers, power to the people, and power to peace. Thank you. So next we have Gloria Berry. Gloria Berry was a representative on the Reparations Committee here in San Francisco. She was also on was represented on the ADIMS, and she is a grassroots organizer in San Francisco. So welcome, Gloria Berry.
Hey, Gloria. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I want to also include, I was former member of the San Francisco Democratic Party. But guess what? They don't want people like me on that. They want the billionaires, puppets that's going to sell us all out, that's going to contract jobs all out. That's what they're moving for. So, you know, I'm trying to be honest. Now, brothers and sisters, let's be clear. This city has run on the backs of black labor. The buses don't move, the streets don't get clean, the water doesn't flow, the schools don't open unless black city workers show up and do the job. But too often, they're shown the door instead of respect. Black workers are given discipline instead of dignity. They're handed poverty wages while the wealthy thrive off of black labor. That ends today. Black city workers deserve more than just a paycheck. They deserve power. Black city workers deserve the right to organize without fear, to bargain for their future, to be safe in their workplaces, and to be treated like human beings, not replaceable machines.
That's right. No AI.
City governments love to say they serve the people.
Go ahead, Gloria, here.
But when black workers don't have rights, thank you. When black workers don't have rights, when they're over-policed on the job, underpaid, and overworked, that's not public service. That's exploitation. And we won't tolerate it anymore. Black labor is the engine. Black labor is the force. And we are tired of being silenced, surveilled, and sacrificed. Giving black city workers full rights isn't a favor, it's justice. It's repair. It's reparations.
That's right.
It's the bare minimum after centuries of stolen labor, red line neighborhoods, and broken promises. The same systems that kept our grandparents in chains are trying to keep us in poverty and silence us. The mayor won't even open the door for us.
That's right.
But we're not asking anymore.
Yeah.
We're organizing, we're demanding. This is about liberation.
That's right. That's right.
If you want a city that truly works for everybody, then you better fight for the black workers who make it run. No rights for city workers, then no peace in this city.
No peace.
Thank you. Thank you.
No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice,
No peace. Okay, next we have a speaker here who they have tried to silence her voice, and she's under attack. And we cannot stand for that here in America. So I want to bring up Dr. Rupa. All right. Thank you.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Thank you for your amazing work.
Thank you, everybody. I guess I'm close to UCSF, but I'm on public land because these streets, whose streets are these streets? This is the Commons. The Commons belongs to no one. The Commons belongs to everybody. The Commons is also our labor. The labor that we bring to make our cities work, to make our economy work, to make our hospitals work, to make our schools work. All of that is coming from our labor. Our labor is our commons. Our housing is our commons. Our farms and the food they bring, that is also our commons. The water to water those crops, that is our commons. That belongs to all of us. That belongs to none of us. But here in California, that commons has been stolen by the billionaire class that has destroyed the fabric of coolness, of beauty, of kindness, and of care on this land, on this stolen ground, Ohlone land, Yalamu, for over 200 years. The capitalist elite, the colonial capitalist elite have been driving chronic systemic inflammation of the planet, of our earth, and of our bodies for 600 years. I just got back from Ireland when I was talking with farmers out there and doctors out there, and they have been pulling themselves out of this disgusting reality of being oppressed and ground down by the colonial capitalist mindset, by the structures. So even though the Brits left Ireland, their systems are still in place. Their landlords are still in place. Their finance systems are still in place. What we need is a revolution from the ground up, from the workers, from the children, from the elders, from the earth herself, to say we can no longer take this kind of violence because we can't breathe. We can't live. We need a general strike. We need to shut it down. I just got a notice on my 50th birthday on Monday from the Chancellor of UCSF that he agrees with the recommendation of a so-called faculty investigation committee to fire me and censure me for speaking up of the rights of Palestinians who are experiencing genocide. I have worked in this city. I came here as a student resident in 2002. I was born and raised on this peninsula, the daughter of Punjabi immigrants. I serve all people here in the Bay Area. I serve California Native people here getting their land back so they can practice their ceremonies. I serve our black and brown communities so that they can have health. And I started to notice a problem at UCSF when I started speaking up for black patients. When I started saying, hey, why isn't this black patient getting this standard of care that this patient gets? And I got written up, and I got called unprofessional, and I got called aggressive. And then I started saying, why isn't this black mama here getting the cardiac catheterization that is indicated right now? What's going on? when we have this New England Journal study that shows that black women get worse cardiovascular care in our hospitals. So I point out that study and they said, why are you calling us a racist? You're a bully. You're unprofessional. You're aggressive. So for years, as I pointed out, the disparity of care within UCSF for undocumented patients, for queer patients, for trans patients, for indigenous patients, for black patients, I was called unprofessional. I was called a bully. I was called aggressive. I'm an angry brown woman, I guess. And so in October 2023, when I started to lay out my expertise of studying how settler colonialism and racial capitalism create poor health outcomes, and I start sharing that online to educate the people. Hey, what we're seeing happening here in Israel, in Palestine, this is the same thing that happened here in California. And I know that because I'm a scholar, I study it. For 25 years I've studied this. And as I started to put this language out, I started to get attacked. I started to get called in. I started to get put under investigation. As I clarified my concerns and students' concerns about former IDF people on campus. Former IDF dean at Columbia, Mahmoud Khalil, disappeared. Former IDF CT techs at UC San Diego are writing up students for wearing a keffiyeh. Our freedom of speech, constitutional rights, and civil rights are being shredded in this country right now. And what's happening to me is being driven by white people weaponizing the wins we got from the civil rights movement, weaponizing Title VI to shut my voice down as I'm speaking up for doctors being tortured to death in Gaza. It's crazy. We cannot stop this by voting. This situation is terminal. What we're witnessing is the descent into full-blown authoritarianism in the United States. The only way this is going to change is through mass worker labor movements. Strike, 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 strike.
So next, we have Christiana Porter. For you guys who have not heard of her, she was walking on 2nd and Gary Street, and she was in the crosswalk, and she was arrested and harmed by the SFPD for walking while black and doing nothing illegally. So come on up here, Christiane, and tell us what happened.
Thank you guys. Good afternoon. Thank you. I say good afternoon, everybody. Okay, I'm just making sure our voices work today, because mine doesn't work from time to time. Does this one work? Oh, like this? Okay, everybody can hear me good? So I'm not here to talk about my story, as my case is in litigation and it is a public lawsuit. So I'm here for the people. I've always been here for the people. It didn't take something happening to me for me to speak out and speak up. I come from a history of, like this? Testing? There you go. Yeah. This is way easier for me, by the way. I am a disabled person, disclaimer, even though it doesn't look like it. So I'm here to break multiple barriers. Still showing up, still showing out for the people, regardless of what the fuck I'm going through, right? So back to my testimony. So I am the oldest of 10 kids. I saw my black mother go to work being beat up because she's in a domestic violence situation. But do you know what her boss did? They fired her anyway and said her life is getting in the way of her working. They left my mother with no dignity, no rights. They left her to figure it out with 5 kids to raise. And it's funny because I find myself in that same exact situation to this day. A black single mother of 5 babies trying to make her way in San Francisco, a city that was predominantly black. If you know the history, you know. And the fact that black workers have to fight harder just for a livable working wage. And on top of that, we can't even speak up in the workplace.
That's right.
You know what happens? We're targeted. We're ostracized. And like the doctor said, we're labeled aggressive. We're labeled angry black and brown women, where all we're saying is, see us, hear us, put yourselves in our shoes. Have some humility. Having humility is a basic human trait, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So this organizing is amazing. And we also not only need to organize, but also keep our boots to the ground and our ears to the streets.
That's right.
And realize that all this government, politicking, performative antics is all smoke and mirrors.
That's right.
If you can really use your common sense, you can clearly see straight through the bullshit. And before I was targeted by SFPD, I was heavily advocating for families, all families experiencing homelessness, experiencing injustices, and clearly calling out the holes and loopholes in the systems and telling them, make it make sense, because it's not making sense. The math ain't mathing. How in the hell is rent going up, but our wages are not increasing?
That's right.
But you know whose wages are increasing? The CEOs, the billionaires, the ones who are getting rich off our labor, off our backs. So it's time for us to really put all the power to the people and say, enough is fucking enough. We deserve better. We, the people, all people, have the right for dignity. Proper housing. We demand proper housing. We demand livable wages. We demand to be able to have accessible food. Good quality food. Good quality food, if you know the history of all communities, it's in the earth already. Why do we need to spend hundreds of extra dollars when our food is already grown here?
Right.
Like, come on now, it's time for us to really educate ourselves. Because besides all the government politicking and everything, it's an intellectual warfare out here in these streets, for real. And it's time to stay educated and get our head in them books. They started banning books for a reason. They're erasing our history for a reason. We've always stood in solidarity from the beginning of time. I don't care what no orange man in office tries to tell you. I don't care what Elon Musk tries to say. We, the people, have the real power. And we got to stay there. Power to the people.
The people united can never be divided. The people united can never be divided. The people united can never be divided. The people united can never be divided.
All right. So next we have Paulette Brown. And Paulette is, her son was murdered here in San Francisco, and she has been advocating for all the mothers who have lost their sons and they have not investigated. They have not investigated their murders, their cold cases. Her son, she'll tell her story. Come on up, Paulette.
Hold the mic up.
And then hold it right here. Hold it right there.
I got it. Oh, sure. This is Deborah.
Hold it on top of it, right? Hold it on top, all the way on top, okay?
Hello, everyone.
Hold it on the way on top, because it'll
Up here?
Yeah, there you go.
Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm a mother who lost her child to community violence. And even though I have a script here, I'm going to try to do this, but I am coming to you as a mother that is still grieving. So thank you for standing here with me today on the grounds where my son, Aubrey Abercassa, took his last breath on August 14th. He was just 17 years old, a bright, beautiful young black man with his whole life ahead of him. And yet, nearly 19 years later, he still stands here. I still stand here with no justice, no answers, no accountability. Aubrey's murder was a cold case. It still is a cold case. But let me be clear. My fight for justice is anything but cold. It burns in my heart and my soul every day. I speak to you not just as Aubrey's mother, but as a voice of many mothers whose children have been taken by violence in this city. Too many black boys, too many sons, brothers, fathers killed, and their cases left unsolved, left forgotten, and left ignored. San Francisco is one of the wealthiest cities in the country. The police department has one of the largest budgets in the nation. in the nation. But what do we have to show for it? Black families are still waiting for justice. We're still attending funerals instead of graduations. We're still holding vigils instead of celebrating milestones. We still plead for accountability, just to be heard. That is structural racism. That is systemic failure. When black deaths is tolerated and black justice is delayed. That is violence, no less than the bullet that killed my son. I am not racist, but I say if my son was a little white boy with blonde hair and blue eyes, would I be doing through this? Would I be going through this? I don't think so.
No.
I have knocked on every door in the city, from the mayor's office to the DA's office to the police chief and beyond. I do this not only for Aubrey, but for every family who has been silent, dismissed, and forgotten. It is our duty to change this. We cannot build a city of equity if we allow black youth to be hunted down and discarded without consequences. We cannot talk about public safety while our children killers still walk the streets.
That's right.
And we certainly cannot talk about justice if justice does not come to the mothers who are mourning. So today, on May Day, a day of labor, struggle, and solidarity, I call on you to stand with us, demand that these unsolved murders be reopened, investigated with urgency. Demand transparency. Demand investigations, not just police budget, but in community safety, mental health, housing, education, and true foundations of justice. I will continue to fight for Aubrey's, I will continue to be Aubrey's voice. And I will lift up the voice of all of the mothers, because the pain is not individual, it's collective. And so is our power. Justice, until justice comes, we will not stop. I would invite you to say my son's name His name is Aubrey.
Aubrey. Say his name.
Say his name.
Aubrey.
Say his name.
Aubrey.
Make you mean to say his name.
Aubrey.
Yes, and thank you. I was born at this hospital, and my son died at this hospital. I still grieve. It still hurts with no justice for our children. I am 65 years old and still fighting for my son that was murdered. I show the body of the autopsy. I show that when I was in the hospital, watching my son, looking at my dead son, and asking the police, where are you going? Aren't you going to solve my son's case? But all I could hear was, we don't get paid. You know, I never forget that. So I ask that y'all keep families like myself, mothers and fathers, in your prayers as I continue to fight for justice for our children and for my child. I know most of you have children. Tell them you love them every day, because you never know the last time you'll see them. It doesn't have to be gun violence. It can be domestic violence, all of those violences. Believe me, I don't want to be in this club, but I am. But I will stand, and I hope you stand with me to continue. We have a healing circle every second and fourth Thursdays for mothers and fathers who've lost their children. And I'm just glad to be here to share my story with you and to continue to share my story. I'm not just one mother, but there's plenty of mothers, and half of you are mothers and fathers out here. We need to stand together and not to be divided. So I thank you for listening to me.
Say his name, Aubrey. Say his name,
Aubrey.
An injury to one. It's an injury to all. An injury to one.
An injury to all.
An injury to one.
An injury to all.
Say his name.
Aubrey.
Say his name.
Aubrey.
And I would tell them that all of these people on this thing
So Paulette just wanted me to share that all these pictures on here of these young men are unsolved cold case murders.
and all of them have been in this hospital and died here. At this hospital, this is the trauma center. This is where every person, every shot victim comes. And they all died here. So my son's spirit lives in this hospital. So I'm glad to be here.
An injury to one.
Injury to all.
An injury to one.
Injury to all.
Say his name.
Aubrey.
Say his name.
Aubrey. Okay, so the next speaker we have is Deborah Howard. And she's been fighting on the front lines for labor and housing. Deborah currently lives in Thomas Paine HUD housing, and she's going to come up here and give us a speech. Yes.
And I have to say thank you to my neighbor, Paulette, who's been fighting for years, or my ex-neighbor, I should say, but over the years, we've been fighting with housing, as well as I do a lot of my community work within the school district. And I tell you, when we have children that have problems that we can't figure out how to resolve instead of patronizing those kids, we're not raising future kids. And that's why I'm glad we're here at General Hospital, because those kids are our future. And until we start protecting our future, we're not living. So if we're not living while we're alive, when are we going to start? And I say, always be neighborly, because without our fight, or without the history of black folks, there is no history. Okay, so we've been around, we've been fighting, we're gonna continue to fight. We want everyone to fight with us, and we wanna go after those landlords who say, we want you to pay market rent, but we want you to have slum conditions.
That's not okay.
We don't want slum conditions.
That's right.
We want respectable living and respectable housing for all people. So when I look at the stats from the district, most of those kids who are missing school because of what they're living in within their environment, they're in public housing. They're in public housing that is not being kept up. Don't care if there's mold in the walls. Don't care if the kids have asbestos. They have medical concerns that could be addressed by the slum landlords who's making bucket money, mega money. So we need to look out for the housing. We need to make sure that housing for minorities continues to be consistent. They are running minorities out of the city like it's running water. Any way they can get them out. Case in point, my rent was $1 short. I got evicted because my rent was $1 short, even though I had over $400 worth of credit. So they play these games, and you got to play back with them. So when they change strategies on you, you change strategies on them.
That's right.
So if they're going to be running naked, or they want to be running like they got diarrhea, we're going to run with diarrhea. We're going to run into it till we get it right. Thank you. Yes, the rent is too high, but you know what? Living in San Francisco is not cheap, but we're not going to be running away.
That's right.
We're going to stay here and we're going to keep the fight. Thank you.
So next, I have Lisa. Say it again.
UPTE members from Palestine.
UPTE members from Palestine. So Lisa, go ahead, take it away.
Thank you. I'm a fellow UPTE member, and I'm here to bring about the intersectionality issue here, and how everything is tied to solidarity with Palestinian people, and how it's important that we have true solidarity and true unity around the struggle for a free Palestine. I don't know if you guys know, but the UCSF has hired the law firm Paul Weiss, which is the law firm that is attacking Dr. Rupa Myra. That's the same law firm that's giving pro bono legal services to the Trump administration. I don't know if you guys know this, but Voices for Peace published a very important report called Deadly Exchange, which showed that the police departments around the country are getting training from Israel, and they've become more and more lethal over the decades. And ICE is getting training from Israel and becoming more and more lethal over the decades against black and brown communities. I don't know if you know this, but those who in the San Francisco Labor Council who are pro-Israeli supporters and pro-AIPAC have stopped every kind of unions from trying to present resolutions to support the Palestinian people. The Palestinian General Federation of Trade Unions has asked of U.S. labor movement that we break the ties with Histadrut. Histadrut is a Jewish supremacist, is a Zionist supremacist trade union that is actually paying, it's actually taking from the paychecks of every worker that works in Israel 1 vacation day's pay to pay the IDF reservists while they're committing genocide. I don't know if you guys know this, but UCSF Pension has Israeli bonds, which we're asking for them to divest. But it also invests in BlackRock, one of the major real estate companies that is actually evicting black and brown communities and taking over real estate and taking over and closing down small businesses across the U.S., which affect primarily black and brown communities, low-income housing. BlackRock. A few years ago, AFSCME workers also brought that up because they were being affected directly, and local health care workers, local 2 workers, hotel and restaurant workers came to the UC Regents meeting asking for divestment from BlackRock as well. We need unity against fascism. What's happening now at UCSF? UCSF's primary major donor is the Helen Diller Foundation, which funds Canary Mission. UCSF is attacking not only Dr. Rupa Myra, but it's fired also Bridget Brochios, a midwife who just came back from Gaza, who was treating women in labor with no supplies. Right now, there's 2 million people being forcibly starved in Gaza right now because Israel is not allowing any aid to come through at all. Let's call it what it is, genocide. As a union movement, we have the obligation and the moral duty to stand with Palestinians and to stand with our black brothers and sisters who have been suffering the brunt of U.S. imperialism and capitalism for the past 400 years. We have an obligation. All right, all right. Yeah. I have been threatened with termination because I wore my café at work. I'm going to be going to the CWA convention, whether I'm elected delegate or not. I'm going to go to the CWA convention, which is the national union representing 700,000 workers, in August to present a resolution on Palestine and to fight for Palestine. Our national union, CWA, has refused to address the issue on Palestine. We have the News Guild, who are journalists who have not done any campaign to defend the 200 journalists who've been killed in Palestine. There's been Google workers who are CWA workers who were fired for refusing to work on software, tracking software. The tracking software that targets journalists when they go back home and they get bombed. The software is called Where's Daddy? Wow. That same software is being used to track immigrant workers at the borders. And the same software is used to monitor the borders. So we really need to address this fascism issue head on. And we need to address this with unity among us. And to stop ghosting each other and to talk with each other. And be able to have honest political conversations and be able to deal with issues directly. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging in here with us. We have two more speakers.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Free Palestine! So we have 2 more speakers. Our next one is Pat Cochran. He's a tenant organizer with housing. So come on up, Pat.
Hey everybody, so yeah, my name is Pat, and yeah, I've been organizing with some tenants at Thomas Paine Square, like one of our previous speakers, Deborah Howard, for the last 3 years. And it's public housing, it's HUD housing up in the Fillmore, and every terrible thing you could think of, lead paint, asbestos, black mold, seniors stuck on 3rd floor walk-ups where they can't even get up and down the stairs. Some of the most disgusting stuff ever. There was tenants stuck on the 3rd floor who, to get down the stairs, had to get on her butt and scoot down concrete, steel stairs. It is disgusting. And we have this political leadership that doesn't want to engage with this. They don't want to hold these landlords accountable. They don't want to put money in to help these tenants. And these are the folks that, like Deborah and other folks have said, these are the people that work in this city, make this city run. And let's just be real, this city talks a big game about being progressive, and we have a lot of things to be proud about, but we also are the home of capital, the tech industry, all these billionaires, of evictions, Ellis Acts, and we need to stand up, fight for these tenants, and make sure that they can stay in their homes, they have dignity, and be treated like everyone else. So, power to the people, power to the tenants, and end the fucking genocide.
So next, I have Steve Zeltzer. Come on up, Steve. Steve's a journalist, and he's everywhere reporting on all of this with black workers, the genocide, everything you can think of. All right, Steve.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. And this is an historic rally that we're having today, because it hasn't happened before that the unions have come together with black workers in San Francisco.
Yes!
That's historic. And it's happening on a day when there are over 2,000 May Day rallies throughout this country. This is very important development. Working people are fed up.
That's right.
They're fed up with racism, they're fed up with unemployment, they're fed up with union busting. that's going on, the busting of unions, federal workers and public workers, they're fed up with a fascist government which wants to destroy this country. When they fire scientists, when they destroy NIH, when they destroy Title I for public students, they're destroying the people of this country.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. So we need to unite the working class. This struggle at UC and San Francisco General is not just about the regents and the management, it's about a system. That's what we're talking about. The regents represent the billionaires. That's why there's no money for the workers here. They're also trying to bust the union at Children's Hospital and force them into other unions and cut their wages by $10,000. We have to say, who does Newsom and the legislature represent?
The billionaires. The billionaires.
That's why there are no hearings on union busting. Do you know that millions of dollars are being spent on lawyers to bust unions at the University of California? They don't have money for wage increases, but they have money for millions of dollars for lawyers, union busting lawyers. This has to end.
Yes.
This has to end. Now, the other political problem that we have, I'm a member of the United Front Committee for a Labor Party, is that we don't really have a working class political party for working people in this country. We rely on the Democrats, and we know that Biden and Harris did not really represent us. They weren't fighting against privatization. They weren't fighting against this war, this genocide against the Palestinians. It seems like they have an unlimited budget for war. It's going to go over $1 trillion this year. Where the hell is money for people in this country?
That's right.
For health care. In Israel, they have national health care, and we can't have national health care in this country? Where are our priorities? So we have to start organizing our unions, and we need a united front of all unions at UC. Every other union should be here. We need a united front because that's the only way we will bust these union busters. We have to bring all workers together. And this government wants martial law. They don't believe in the Constitution, and they've said that. They said that they can do what they want, executive orders. They don't need a democratic process. And what we have to be prepared for is martial law, a Reichstag incident. We have to be prepared for a fascist coup where they take over. That means working people in this country have to start talking about fascism. We have to start understanding that. We cannot be unprepared because that's what's coming. These people are preparing for a fascist government to arrest not just the immigrants, but all of us that stand up and speak out. They will arrest trade unionists. They will arrest all kinds of people who speak out. We have to put a stop to it. It will only come with all working people united, and today's May Day is an important step forward. So let's continue to organize. Stop the privatization. Let's have health care for all in this country, for people in this country. It amazes me that hospital workers have to pay for health care. Hell no! Hell no!
Hell no!
Solidarity, internationalism, and let's work towards a general strike to really tell the capitalists and the billionaires we're not going to put up with it. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
Thank you, C. And come on down.
Thank you all for being here. My name is Damian T. Miner. I work for the San Francisco Unified School District. Currently, SEIU 10-1, our chapter, we're in the process of trying to get our contract together, and we're trying to get our wages up, because I think most of y'all know that working for the school district, we're kind of at the bottom. We're the bottom feeders. So when it comes down to it, we're just trying to get what is rightfully deserving of ours. We're not trying to get a lot. We're not trying to get more than what it is. We want what is owed to us.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay? So I'm born and raised here in San Francisco. They try to squeeze me out. Okay? So I'm trying to stay here. Born and raised. I went to Bret Hart. I went to Lowell High School. So in order for me to come back and serve my community, it's about giving back. Because I was once that quiet kid. I was once that kid that I was living in public housing, Section 8 and everything like that. It's my godmother right there. I don't know where she at, Deborah. Deborah. Okay. So it was people like that was able to edify me to be where I am. So to be here on May Day is such a blessing. But we got to continue this fight. This fight doesn't stop. We got to keep going, keep moving, keep moving. Put the word out. Doing things like this, walking down the street. Okay? That's what it's all about. because it's all about justice. It's all about keeping the black and brown families here. We've always been the foundation to everything. Okay? So keep us here. Thank you.
When work is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When Palestinians are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When black folks are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Our last speaker here is Mary Jane Galviso. She is with the Filipino Farmers Cooperative. So let's give it up for Mary Jane.
I'm Mary Jane Galviso, and I'm with the Filipino Farmers Cooperative, and you might be asking, well, why am I speaking? It's important for those of you who live in the cities to also understand that there are two sectors in every economy. There's the urban industrial, like here, and there's the rural communities, like those of us who farm and are agricultural workers. Today, we face tremendous challenges, the same challenges as you. We look at more than 1 million of agricultural workers in this country, those who pick, plant, and pack your fruits and vegetables and nuts, being undocumented. A month ago, the Trump administration moved 6,000 U.S. troops to the Mexican-U.S. border. It is fomenting war. Yes. It is fomenting war here as it carries out raids, ICE raids in Tulare County, Kern County, Fresno County. It's an attack on the most vulnerable workers in our society. That's what fascism does. It preys on the weakest and the most unorganized, and unfortunately, 98% of agricultural workers in this country do not have a union, do not have collective bargaining rights. They are the most vulnerable. But let me just say this one thing, and that is this. From the very beginning, Trump has made it very clear. He has declared open war on you, on me, on all of the workers in this country. Once we understand what capitalism is, we understand there's no sense of talking about democracy, equality. We are wage slaves. The only thing that we can do to survive is to sell ourselves, our labor, to be able to have some food on the table and a roof over our head. And that's all we're going to be doing from now on until capitalism, like slavery, like feudalism, goes away, right? And it's not going to go on its own. It's not. It's going to take a tremendous, tremendous fight. And that's why it's important to understand the significance of today. It's going to be a global war, a global effort. It's going to take all of us in the urban areas, in the rural areas, to come together to form what Steve talks about is a working class party. We're not going to get it with the Republicans. We're not going to get it with the Democrats. They both represent the capitalist class. We need our own party. We need a working class party, right? And that's why we need to join hands. Today is International Workers' Day. I try to remind folks, May Day is a time when people put flowers in their hair and dance around the maypole. Sorry, that's that European holiday. This is May 1st, Mayo Uno, International Workers' Day. This is the time for us to link arms across the borders, across the oceans, to all our brothers and sisters in the working class. Woo! Let's stay in touch.
Who's got the power?
The people.
What kind of power? Who's got the power?
We got the power.
What kind of power?
Union power.
What kind of power?
Union power.
What kind of power?
Union power.
Thank you, everyone, for being here and hearing our demands and what we need all together around this hospital in solidarity to let the people that are in charge know that we are all standing together regardless of race, creed, or color.
Woo! Let's go.